I hurt my hand. Oh, yes, happy Monday, everybody. You know, and happy Pride Month.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Although, it already seems like a year. Maybe it's because all we talk about for the other 11 months is Pride Month. I'm seeing rainbows everywhere but the sky. So let's talk about war. Well, would you rather we do trans? All right, because that's later in the show. War is a great topic. It's so great, in fact, that no one wants to talk about it. It's like bringing up 9/11 at a baby shower. Yeah, that landed. That's proof. So we're sending billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine, but you wouldn't know it judging by the press, because when we spend blood and treasure, someone winds up with that treasure. What if Russia bombs a shipment? I guess we can debate that after World War III. Instead, all we get from the press are competing stories about who's winning or losing, and none of it makes sense. And do we care? We love to talk about war in this country when it's the war on drugs, the war on poverty, and so on, but not real war. It's a half a world away. Both sides talk funny, and those slobs on The View never talk about it. So I don't get to make fat jokes. But why is that? Well, war is like a 401k. Don't check on it until you cash out. Maybe people will care when our army doesn't have any bullets left. But it's worth pointing out that amidst this silence, there are two men on opposite sides of politics who are actually speaking up, saying that the war's got to end. The moment you say that, of course, though, somebody's going to call you a Putin puppet. To which you should respond, well, you're a puppet of a puppet. And you both have your hands up each other's asses. A year ago, I said that unless you mitigate the war at the start, it becomes background noise, like CNN while you're waiting at gate C7. Someone gets it. Here's RFK Jr.
My own son, Connor, joined the Foreign Legion and fought in the Ukraine and during the Kharkiv offensive. We were told initially that the objective was humanitarian. In recent times, President Biden said that one of our objectives, at least, is regime change of Vladimir Putin. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin validated President Biden's statement by saying that our objective in the Ukraine is to exhaust and degrade the Russian army. That is completely antithetical to a humanitarian mission.
So first, I had no idea that his kid went to fight as part of the Foreign Legion. I thought the Legion only existed in Cary Grant movies. Also, a Kennedy fighting somewhere else other than in a bar just doesn't sound right. But that's pretty damn brave, fighting in Ukraine, considering you might run into Randy Weingarten. She is there. But it makes RFK the most important person to listen to. Unlike most, he has more than skin in the game, his own flesh and blood. Although, maybe he's biased because he selfishly doesn't want his son to die needlessly. So, is he a Putin puppet too? Do you have the guts to say that to him? I don't, and if I don't, do you really think someone like Morning Joe does? So what are the Dems going to do about RFK Jr.? Create another Russian hoax to falsely smear his principled stance? You know, it's funny, these hoaxes, they're like feds at a Trump rally. They all start to look alike. So that's a Democrat running for prez. Here's a Republican.
What I think we need to do is end the Ukraine war on peaceful terms that, yes, do make some major concessions to Russia, including freezing the current lines of control in a Korean War-style armistice agreement.
Ukraine really wouldn't want to do.
Which Ukraine wouldn't want to do, and also a permanent commitment not to allow Ukraine to enter NATO. But in return, Russia has to leave its treaty and its joint military agreement with China. That better advances American interests and actually further deters China from going after Taiwan, which I think is a much higher priority for the United States.
Let me ask you.
So he wouldn't spend another dime on this war because all it does is push Russia to China. Maybe he's right. All Paul, George, and Ringo did attacking John was push him to Yoko. So what's this mean when two oppositional candidates happen to agree? Well, maybe it's time for the rest of us to listen to this guy.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. I want Europe to put up more money. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land. Right now, we want to get that war settled. And I'm not talking about the money either. I'm talking about all the lives that are being, the number of people being killed in that war is far greater than you're hearing.
Exactly. But that's nothing new. Trump hates war for reasons all of us do. It's a waste of young life. And he thinks America should keep its F-16s, which is really crazy, am I right? Yet CNN claims that Trump is politicizing the war. Well, duh, you morons. He's running for president. It is politics. And he's always been like this, except thinner and less orange. But he knows the loss of blood and treasure makes no sense if there's another way. And I think there was. The people in the know saw this war coming, and still it happened. And why is that? Well, you can't speculate, or again, you'll be a Putin puppet. Fact is, two things can be true at once. War is a waste, but a war maybe had to be fought. The problem is, when a war starts and gets sponsorship, it loses the spotlight. Gutfeld gets preempted for a few days, but then people just want to hear brilliant jokes and analysis from a hot stud again. But we all pay for this. We don't see the bill, so it keeps going. It's like sponsoring a starving child overseas, the one you saw in those ads decades ago. We're sponsoring a war that we never have to see. But if you got to pick at that child that you're sponsoring and say every 6 months, he's looking more and more grim, you got to ask, what the hell are they doing with the money? But there's the other truth. That when a country invades another country, you got to act against the aggressor, even if you know the outcome is going to be awful or invasions will continue. And it's not our country, it's Ukraine's, and you can't tell them not to fight. Except now we're bankrolling the fight, and bodies are piling up like a Cuomo-run nursing home. Joke. And now we may be prolonging the agony, just like people who vote for Gavin Newsom. So now it feels less like a war and more like a demolition of an old apartment building to make way for a casino with the people still in it. So is that what this election should be about? For us, it's about 4 more years of a mindless, feeble robot programmed by the left with no desire to connect our financial support to thousands of dead Ukrainians. 10 years ago, Joe Biden could find Ukraine on a map. Now he can't find his own front door. So as long as he stays, the war goes on as he haplessly sits and waits for further instructions from his handlers or the visiting angel to come powder his feet. I'd be happy if a Republican beats Biden to end this war, but if a Democrat does it first, awesome. Because maybe that shows that common sense can cross all lines, even politics. And if you want to fight about it, join the Foreign Legion. Let's welcome tonight's guests. She'll have your net worth grow so big it'll trap dolphins. Fox Business anchor Lauren Simonetti. He's my third favorite host after the guy from Applebee's on 42nd in the Times Square Olive Garden, comedian Jeff Dye. The last person to call her 4 eyes still has to wear orthopedic shirts. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And finally, people at the gym ask her how much she can French press. Fox News contributor, Kat Tipp. Kennedy, we don't really talk about this war, do we?
Not enough.
Yeah, why is that? Is it because it's depressing and it's easier to look away from it?
No, it's because people on both sides are really for it. And I look at this and I listen to what RFK Jr. is saying. And I'm like, where are the hippies?
Yes.
Because it used to be the left, they were the ones who cornered the real estate on the anti-war market. Mm-hmm. And then there were a lot of Republicans who were like, well, I've got family members and friends, and we know people who work at this network who have gone and fought in endless wars, mm-hmm. and they've seen and felt the cost of that personally, and they don't want that to continue. Ukraine is one of those places where we could be bankrolling this for the next 20 years. And while I don't agree that Ukraine should just give back land to Russia, I worry that in 20 years we'll be broke, and that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. And man, have you ever been to Ukraine? Jeff?
No, sir.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we're going tonight. A little surprise.
Field trip.
No, but it's like it's like there's going to be nothing left to claim victory because they're just destroying this place. I know as a comedian you probably do not talk about this, but do you have specific?
Well, people ask me because I'm on stage. Hey, what do you think about Russia and Ukraine? I'm like, if I'm honest, I didn't even know those were different places.
Yeah. Actually, for both, they were.
Yeah, a long while ago. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. It felt like that one guy was going, hey, listen, this war, we need to get it over with so we can go into this other war. It felt very pro-war. And I like Star Wars. I like Cupcake Wars. I like war things as long as it's not actual humans dying.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of gross.
Yeah. No. We got a
Also,
problem.
that guy's, what, 30 years old or something? How old is that
Vivek.
guy?
Vivek.
37.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Vivek
too young.
he's a regular on this show. He was just on a couple. Very smart, engaging young man. Unlike you, Jeff.
No, I think I'd have a better shot at running. People go, I like that guy. He said some stuff.
Yeah. Lauren, you look like one of the most successful dental hygienists on the planet.
Oh, it's all the coffee I drink.
No, I'm talking about the white medical jacket.
Okay, gotcha.
See, they cut you down. They
tea.
cut it up here. It looks like a medical jacket, doesn't it? Probably shouldn't have pointed that out.
You don't like it.
Yeah. No. Where do you stand on that? You are a business genius.
Oh.
How long do you think this can go on before we feel it? Are we already feeling it?
I think so. It's almost 16 months now, right?
Yeah.
75 billion plus and counting. And, we just heard now we're getting ready for the counteroffensive. And we just heard from Ukraine's Zelensky, and he's basically saying, we're ready, but kind of trying to lessen our hopes. Be patient. It's going to cost more than we think. It's going to take more time than we think. And we're behind. I'm behind Ukraine because I want them to win. But is the cost worth the victory? And when does the victory come? If he's prepping us that we're going to be in this for longer and longer.
Yeah.
What's the way out? What does victory look like? I don't think anybody has defined that clearly just yet.
Yeah. And the fact is, both sides are willing to just keep throwing bodies at it, and Russians have more bodies. Kat, you told me in the green room that you love a good war.
I knew you were going to go that direction.
Where do you? We know where you stand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like Kennedy said, both sides, they agree that this is good, and you're not really allowed to have another opinion.
No.
Even to the point where when it came out that the government was, shocker, lying to us about this one too, people, a lot of the anger was like, hey, we're not supposed to know that.
Yeah.
Like, hello, respect yourself a little. And there's been really no major consequences for us for being involved in this, but we shouldn't just assume that means that there never will be. And in fact, the longer we stay involved and the more involved we get, that actually rises the odds of that. So I think that the fact that we're even talking about it is good because everyone just kind of accepted it, and then it will just probably go on forever and ever, just like we've seen with so many of those wars in the past.
Yeah, we'll do one monologue every 6 months.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll move on.
That'd actually probably be more than anywhere else.
Yes.
Ratio.
16 months is a year and 4 months.
You know what? People didn't think you could handle this war topic.
Dude, exactly. But she's naming the war dates like it's a baby or something, just by months.
24th, 2022.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I believe that is correct.
Checks out.
I remember because it was a terrible week, and then we were in Texas.
Yeah,
Texas,
we were in
and they
Texas.
canceled all our shows.
Canceled all our shows.
But I have a theory. I have a weird theory.
The real
If Trump was super gung ho about Ukraine, all the people that were gung ho now wouldn't be, because Trump would be for it.
Absolutely.
I think that, and then I also think that if RFK gets traction on this, they're going to pull a Russian collusion background thing on him. They did to Trump, so he disappeared. Like, they want to make sure that his views will be compromised.
Yeah, so what they have to hope is that Trump comes out full bore for the war.
Yeah.
That's what the anti-war people have to hope.
Exactly.
Because that's the only way the media and the establishment will then be against the war.
You got it.
It is fresh. It is fresh to see a Kennedy in politics. Very fresh. Finally.
Just don't let him drive. Okay. I just praised him.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.